Good morning and welcome to another episode of the mini-series, What is Coaching? I'm joined by my dear friend and fellow coach, Nima. And today we're going to talk about one of my niches in coaching, which is somatic coaching. And Nima will be leading the show. I'm going to take a back seat today and do the answering. It's really unusual for me. But yeah, so hi, Nima.
This is probably going to be the most favorite episode ever. So I'm looking forward to it. I love it. So I'm so glad we are kind of going a little bit into specializations, just giving people a taste of, what you do and what you're good at. So you said, can you start with explaining what Soma means?
Soma is the Greek word for the body, and the body in its entirety, not just the organs, our hands and legs and internal. It's the whole body, the mind, the psyche, the emotions, and the Greeks or in ancient times, they considered the whole human as an entity. So with evolution in time, we ended up going from this treatment of, I think in your terminology, it's shoulders up, and in mine, it's head down. Yes. But we've lost touch with the body, and we'll touch on that later as to why. But Soma is actually getting the body to either heal and release trauma or to embody who you want to be. It's not enough to intellectualize things anymore because, for example, I saw this a lot when I was working in back in aviation. We do all these trainings. Right. So there's managers, us, we do all this corporate training, and some of them get coached even, But for some reason, whenever you did the course, whatever it was, time management, coaching, whatever it was to confidence, self-esteem, you got the intellectual side of it. But for some reason, after a certain period of time, you just couldn't implement it on a daily basis because the intellectual wasn't enough. You actually had to start teaching the body to be what you wanted it to be. So it's not enough to say, love yourself, don't be afraid, be confident, when your body is actually resisting all those things because it hasn't been taught how to be confident.
Wow, so what I'm hearing, that's amazing. So what I'm hearing is that we need to embody that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Can you share a little bit more about embodiment? So you were saying that, you went for the training was there and intellectually people grasped it, but that was not enough. You need to kind of embody this and the body has to feel that. Can you just explain that a little bit more, what embodiment means?
Yeah, for example, right? So, and maybe people who are watching this can practice this. So when more often than not, our body is in one state to other, and more often it's in a protective state because of, that's a separate topic, but the childhood trauma that comes through. So more often than not, you can see if you're hunched, anyone, where your shoulders are closing in and it's a defensive approach to your life. You are in survival mode. So you tell somebody who has this posture, leaning forward, back up, shoulders in, to tell them to be confident, but you can't be confident if you're like this. This is a defense mode, right?
Exactly. You're protecting yourself,
so
right?
Be confident, be brave, believe in yourself, and you're doing this, there's no way you're going to be feeling it, right? The body is saying, I am afraid. But the mind is saying, no, be confident. You read the books, you know the logic, you know the intellectual side. And the body is just, I'm too afraid. It's been there for too long. And a simple exercise is actually opening your chest, putting your shoulders back, and seeing how that sits with you.
Oh God, it just feels amazing.
And more often than not, if it's unfamiliar, you'll feel a bit of embarrassment, shyness, exposure, vulnerability, because now you've physically taken off your armor and you actually, this is a, I mean, Superman does, I don't know, he does this, or I don't know. Yeah, he's all like he's got the S on his chest, right? He's showing this is the posture for power and bravery and self-acceptance. So just practicing daily to stand with your chest out and shoulders back, you're already telling the body to release that survival mechanism that it's in and to start adopting a more open, brave, confident approach. And this is the somatics. So you could tell somebody every day, this is the book, this is how you overcome your fears. But if you're constantly in defense, you'll have the logic.
Yes, but
the body doesn't know. The body's like, no, no, no. Yeah. I know what you're saying, but I don't know how to be that way because I don't know how to just do this.
Yeah, that's amazing. Before we go to the somatic, I just, as a follow-up, what happens if there's no mind-body unity? What happens to us if we don't consider the mind and the body to be the same? Like we've been conditioned, mind is separate, body is separate.
Yes, yes.
What happens if we don't recognize that they are the same?
Then we basically have my favorite analogy of the car, accelerator and brake. So you're pressing both, right? Yes. So the head is telling you go forward, but the body is saying, I'm not okay, it's stopping you. And this is where a lot of resistance comes in. And this can lead to mental health conditions, physical ailments, from cancer to multiple sclerosis to weight gain, no matter what you try to do, and various other physical conditions that you can't seem to comprehend. So when the mind and the body are disconnected, then you're going to have this conflict between how the body wants to release this tension and what the mind is doing.
Where did this start, like this separation? Like you were telling me, like the Greeks figured out that both are, there's mind-body unity. How did we get to know that this is separate? How were we conditioned?
As far as I know, and this is my learning and my reading, and it was the pharmaceutical industry. Once they started discovering that we can treat people faster through chemicals, through imbalances in the brain by taking a supplement, then it became an easier approach to dealing with people's emotional and psychological issues. You can't sleep, you just take a pill.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It's easy, right? You don't even have to ask what it is that happened to you. Why can't you? When was the last? It's just a quick fix, right? Yeah. And so we started fixing the head rather than the body. And then with the evolution of the pharmaceutical industry, as we know, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. Money rules the world. It just became, I don't know how often people go to the doctor, to your GP, and he asks you, are you happy? How's your life? What's going on? It's just, what's your ailment? Okay, take this medication. What's wrong? And we're fixing symptoms day after day. And one tablet fixes this, but it creates this. Then you take a tablet to counteract that, and then it's creating another problem. And next thing, the medicine cabinet is packed more than your grocery shelves, right?
Oh my God, yes. Oh God, that's so fascinating. It's so fascinating. I want to bring our viewers to, just kind of shed some light on somatic coaching. What do you do? Take us through the process, maybe do a little coaching with me so we can demonstrate. I'm just curious, and just like I'm sure all the viewers here are, what is it? What is somatic coaching? Because I'm sure many haven't heard about this.
Yes, of course, and I'd love to do that. So how we can start is a brief explanation. Okay. So, for example, we'll do a meditation.
Okay.
Okay, so we do let's just do a short one, okay, just to go through. Okay, so a good place for tension is in the jaw. Okay. Can you relax your jaw? Do you notice any tension in your jaw? Just gently release that tension. Your back molars shouldn't be touching. They're not designed to touch. We slowly go down the neck, the shoulders. Feel any tension that could be in there. Consciously release it. The body is designed for the muscles to rest on the skeletal system. They shouldn't be in tension 24/7. We'll go down our hands, consciously releasing any tension that we could be holding in our arms, our forearms, our hands. We come to our chest area. Release the chest. We go down to our stomach. Notice anything in the stomach area, any tension, any discomfort, and just consciously tell yourself to release it. We'll go down our thighs. The thigh muscles are attached to the femur, and these are the biggest muscles in the body. Consciously release any tension that's held in them. We'll go down to our knees, our calves. Notice any tension that might be being held in these areas. Go down to our feet. Wiggle your toes. Again, with conscious energy and effort, just release any tension that could be held. We'll quickly go to the back area. The back is our support. This is where everything's held, everything in our past. This is our biggest support structure. So notice focus on all the muscles in the shoulders, in the back, consciously release them. Let the spine completely relax. And then we'll stop here, Nima, without to not let us go too far, because then we're going to do a balancing in our forward, in our back. We have to align our body. Wow. It's more of a mindfulness practice than anything else.
Yes, oh my God, can I just say how amazing that felt? So I felt a lot of kind of tension in my shoulders, and when you told me to consciously release that, oh, it felt like, something big. This is amazing.
The shoulders and the jaws are the first two places you'll notice any tension that's held in the body. There's a lot that's kept here and in the shoulders. This is if you were in survival in the old days and we had to run away from lions and bears, and you brace for impact or to run. So this is where the power in the body is, either to protect yourself from an attack or to brace yourself to flee. So a lot of the tension is here and in the jaw. So the first places we look at is what's in the jaw. Can you release it? And you'd be surprised how many people say, oh my God, I didn't even realize I had tension. And like you're saying with the shoulders, I didn't even realize that I'm consciously holding in tension.
Yes. Oh, wow. It's just amazing. So tell me, when a client comes to you, so I just want to raise some more awareness of how the process works. Can you share with us kind of your end-to-end process, just kind of briefly? So let's say I come to you and I say, I'm having stress with something.
Absolutely.
And my goal is to change that situation and to move on to something else. So with somatic coaching, how would you work with me?
Nima, it's not a linear process. We can't structure, because we'll start with our discovery session, as is typical in any coaching session. It's very still coaching. It's the coaching format. So we do our discovery session, chemistry session, as we call it, which is very powerful. In any relationship. I think we do it in our normal lives. When you're dating, it's a chemistry session. You're seeing how compatible you're, right? It's a discovery session, no?
Yes.
So we do that anyway. And once the chemistry is good, then combining CTI training with the somatic tools, It's an interweave of, okay, so we had a great session today, and then you come back next week and you're all tense and rigid, and you were like, I can't deal with my boss. He's just frustrating to no end. And then we'd go into a grounding meditative practice like we just did. It's much longer. That's why I didn't want to keep you going for too long. So
I could have been there forever, by the way.
It's so powerful.
You're like, oh, but I'm like, what, really? Already? Okay. So you go through, you have a longer meditative, grounding process. Okay.
It's basically taking you out the mind and trying to see where the body is. And that's the union we're trying to bring back. It's that mind-body connection. Because more often than not, we cut off this and we hear, I'm frustrated, I'm angry, them, this, that, and it's everything out. And the body is just suffering continuously for that because it's either so afraid or so agitated, or it's in a state of unhappiness. It's not very conducive.
Yes.
Your cortisol, your adrenaline are constantly being produced, which we all know is not a healthy state to be in. So some sessions, it'll be, okay, let's do a mindfulness practice, a somatic meditation. And others, it would just be a normal coaching session. So I throw in the inner child healing, which is so powerful. And with the inner child healing mixed with the somatics, it's so powerful in realizing that the fear that we most often feel, this need for attachment to things that we are afraid to let go of, it's a lot of it stems from our inner psyche of that inner child that has been traumatized to some extent.
Well, can you tell me, share with all of us actually a little bit more about the inner child, because I can see the connection. Can you share a little bit more of why it's important that we bring out, rather than ignoring it, bring out the inner child front and center?
I'm going to try and stay calm because it's like you're giving me water and I've been in the desert because I love this. I start going like, okay, focus, keep it structured. Don't just get stuck in. Okay, I'll try and stay composed. Do a grounding practice myself. So Nima, the idea behind inner child healing is we have the triad, right? So we have the inner child, the parent, and the adult within all our physiology and our psyche, right? And more often than not, in childhood, when we haven't been nurtured as conducively as we can, for no fault of anybody's, right? Our parents do the best they can with what they know. We don't hold judgment to anybody because at the end of the day, this is my personal belief, and I think it's very powerful in releasing blame and victimization, that nobody does bad intentionally. People respond to how the internal environment has been nurtured. So that inner child, if it's being neglected, it's been abused, it's been violated in any way, shape, or form, even just simple ignorance, being ignored, all children need is attachment and love.
Yes.
And if one of those is, if attachment is compromised, if love is compromised, the child will give up its authenticity because it needs to feel that it's loved and needed, right? Absolutely. So these things, coping mechanisms that we develop, people pleasing, inability to say no, inability to speak up for ourselves, inability to feel self-love, they're not nurtured. And as we get older, we start projecting these unmet needs onto society, relationships, our kids, our bosses. We always want to feel validation outside because we didn't learn how to nurture it inside. And we see adults and we say, look, they're acting out, they're screaming, they're shouting, they're losing their temper, just like kids do, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
I see with my 4-year-old child, she doesn't know how to intellectualize and reason. She's too small. So when she can't get something she wants, she screams.
Absolutely.
She has a tantrum. And we still do that as adults, right? We have our tantrums, and that's the inner child part of our psyche that is not being taken care of and nurtured as conducively as could be. So when we do an inner child meditation, we go back to that part of us and we look back at how it was in childhood, what was missing, what was needed. And we start now reparenting that inner child within ourselves. And then you become the parent that you
You didn't
Not never had, because
understand.
we love our parents, no matter how dysfunctional or great.
Right.
So it's not to remove them from our life, but it's just to give ourselves that nurturing love, authenticity that we were missing ourselves. So when we start changing that part of our physiology and starting to see that, you know what, I can heal. I don't have to scream. I don't have to shout. I don't have to be tense. I don't have to be cowering away in the corner. I can be seen. I can be brave.
Yeah.
So the somatics are coming in. We're starting to heal that part of us that is never been heard or seen.
So it must, this inner child work is fascinating because it's so deep, and children who have that sense of abandonment and they lose trust and all of that.
That's it. That's it.
But please tell me that this is true, that when that changes and you work with the inner child and you see transformation in your client, I'm sure you see transformation in their body as well, don't you?
Yes, but with any learned behavior, it takes time and consistency. If we don't practice a new way of being, and I read something the other day about this, but what's the saying? It takes 22 days to develop a new habit.
Yes.
I don't know if I agree with that, because it depends on your application. If I want to play football and I kick a ball one time a day for 22 days, I'm not going to be any good, right? But if I really want to implement change and improve, if I kick that ball for every minute of the day, I don't need 22 days to reach a new level of ability. So it always comes down to how much do you want this for yourself? How much does this feel good factor in the coaching mean to you for you to apply it consistently and consciously in every moment? And that's where the growth and evolution comes in.
Beautiful. Lindsay, can I share something with you? Because
please, of course.
I just feel like I'm having goosebumps because when I lost my dad to suicide, and I had a very tough childhood, and when I did the inner child work, I would have to say this, when I had the opportunity to go and get inner child work and, deal with my abandonment and loss and so many things, at that point, I was very overweight. I was like 30 pounds more than what I am, and I was unhealthy in multiple ways. So I was drinking, and there was eating and all of those things. And when the inner child work started happening, there was a complete transformation all around. Like, I started eating healthy, not because I was on a diet or anything, but the way that I really wanted to take care of myself. Self-care kicked in only then. And I started running, and I started, eating healthy, stopped drinking completely, all of these things. And there was a massive change to who I was physically and emotionally. Like a rebirth, Lindsay, if you know what I mean.
That's it. That's what it is.
So when you're telling me this, I feel like, is he talking about my life? Because I feel that. I just wanted to share that.
That's so beautiful. Thank you.
What you're doing is so powerful.
And thank you so much for your vulnerability. I mean, it's really great that you can see and feel the changes in yourself, because that's where it matters most, Nima, right?
Oh God, yes.
It's not enough to project onto the world and whatever you feel they want to see, or what you've been brought up to believe that's what they want to see. It's when you feel that authenticity and love for yourself. I know self-love is the new craze and stuff, but it's so powerful.
It is when you genuinely connect to it. I think it transforms your life.
100%. And Nima, before we came on this call and we did our own chemistry session, as we do no matter what, just to check in with each other, and we were talking about authenticity and embodying what we bring. Yes. As coaches, as people trying to change people directly. We're not working in an environment where you try and do your best. We're actually hoping to bring people into a new place of being. And for me, my own journey with the inner child healing was through a man called Ken Mossman, and just one session. So transformed. I couldn't believe it. I'm very against this new, how do I say it? Like, what's the word? I had it. Oh my God, where we heal the whole body and the being. I'm resistant to it because I wasn't taught it. So when you say before saying to me, how do you feel? Connect to that child. It would be wacky doodah before. Like, no. The resistance would come up. Like, no, stay away. No.
No. Oh, yeah.
And that's the body too. The body will resist change. That's the somatic. It will resist. If the body's got so attached to a way of being, perfectionism, it's so attached to being perfect that if you try and tell someone go make a mistake, it's like asking them to jump off a cliff with no parachute.
Yeah.
But when this authenticity that comes, and like you said, you start seeing yourself differently. You stop that neglect. You stop that coping to survive. You stop abusing yourself. And it's like you drink less and you eat better. I could eat a tub of Haagen-Dazs at night with no hesitation. And now I don't want to treat myself that way. And it's not a conscious choice. It's starting to be a way of being. It's like, no.
Yeah, it's very authentic from the inside, because I would say when I was feeling so stressed, my go-to was, let me go get a glass of wine. Because I can hide under that. It's like instant gratification. I don't have to worry. It's 7 years now since I've had a glass of wine. Since I've had a beer, since I've had anything.
Wow.
I don't feel, because at one point, wine had so much power over me, because it was my go-to. I could go drink a glass of wine, or 2 or 3 glasses of wine, and hide under that. And when I started doing the inner child work and all of that, it just showed me that, you know what, I'm more, and I'm more like, and for me, I still have a lot of fun and everything. I just don't associate alcohol with fun. Like, I don't need alcohol to have fun. I can just be fun, and I can, have a good time. It's just fantastic. So I don't know, maybe there was a somatic coaching therapy experience as well when I did it. But I saw this phenomenal change in my body. And it started becoming one. Oh.
So powerful.
I can't tell you, the work that you do is amazing. Share with us, with all of us listening here, a few more of the somatic tools, just to.
So the besides the meditation, which gets you very in touch with your body and helps you unlock areas of trauma and all this pent up stress, it starts from very young, Nima. We're talking about years and years and years of tension, of suppression, of fear, of anxiety. So the meditations are very, very powerful, but also the embodiment of who you want to be. So without embodying a new way, the body doesn't memorize. It doesn't shift from this place to this without you consciously saying, I'm gonna chest out. I'm going to be less afraid. And then you do a pose that embodies being less afraid.
And like you said, practice it, no?
Any new habit, any new behavior has got to be implemented consciously, daily, moment by moment. Otherwise, it doesn't shift anything, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So it's coming out the head and going into the body. And it's a lot of, we do the stuff anyway, with the meditation, the yoga, the walking, the exercise, all these things that do contribute to a new way of being. But it's not one thing that fixes it all or contributes to it all. It's a culmination of many healthier ways of being that stem from you now starting to heal yourself physically, emotionally, mentally.
Very, very fascinating. I want to ask you this. So my mind-body awareness has increased a lot more. Earlier, like you said, I never had that. It was always a shoulder up. Now, when I feel stressed, and maybe I'm sharing this because many of our listeners might feel the same. When I feel nervous or tensed, or I know something, I just find it here in my neck, throat, or something. What do you tell? How do you deal with clients who can feel their pain in a particular part of the body? How do you help them release that?
So I love your questions. The first thing that we do is we don't judge it. Many clients and myself too. Just to reiterate the authenticity, I'll say very subjectively. I use the product I sell. I do the work that I believe in, because then at least you know that it works. And the judgment that comes with not being able to speak up. This is a childhood suppression, being told to keep quiet, being never allowed to speak up and be heard. So we start blocking the throat chakra, or whatever you want to call it. This energy center is blocked.
Yes.
So it's the first thing is love and acceptance. Once we have love and acceptance and compassion for something, we change the energy that's connected to it. And instead of being a judgmental, there's something wrong with you, you shouldn't be like this, you should speak up. Once you start putting that expectation on something, you start losing the ability to see differently and shift it. So it's okay, Nima. It's okay to not be able to speak up. But if you could speak up, how would that feel like? Let's try and just scream at the top of your voice for a second, right? Let's just say something that you could. What was held within you as a child that you wish you could say? Let's say that now. Let's just practice getting past that emotional blockage where you felt fear, trepidation, or sometimes people scream because they don't know how to control the emotions. So if you could speak gently to that child within you and say, don't be afraid, in a calm voice, how would that sound like? Let's practice it. Let's try that. And with practice and implement, it's so uncomfortable for many people. It was uncomfortable for me. And then you're like, I've never said this.
You feel like you're trapped, and you're putting it so beautifully, because you're not being allowed to say anything. You have to keep quiet. You have to, who are you displeasing by bringing something out?
That's it. If you speak up, you're a bad child.
Yeah.
No?
And when you're telling me, if you can give this voice a voice, it's phenomenal. So do you help clients learn that so they can practice that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the first, I can't emphasize enough, Nima, from my own journey, how much being kind to yourself and that awareness that you are judging yourself, that you're telling yourself you're not good enough, that you're not lovable, that you're not capable, that nobody wants to hear you. The minute you start being okay with that, that energy shift is so powerful. That's all you need first. It's the first step, is shifting judgment and shame. Even though shame is a powerful emotion, if you don't have shame, you don't have there's no willingness to change. People that are ashamed, this is somatics, people that feel shame will say, I'll never be disempowered like that again. I'll never be treated like that again. And they use that to grow, to work on themselves, to do something different. When there's no shame, that's another area where we won't go into now. But people with no shame, there's not much hope for awareness and growth, because they don't see anything that they can do. It's blame, and that's another part of coaching and psyche that we won't go into now. But seeing shame as something that you can work with. It's okay to be ashamed. What do you want to do with that shame? How would you like to shift that so it's not something you're embarrassed about, but something you can use to help you be better, to grow? Do you see it?
It makes a lot of sense. And what I'm seeing here, which I'm fascinated by, is asking powerful questions.
What do you feel?
What do you feel? It's like really giving a voice to something you've said that has been shut for its whole life. So what I'm hearing from you is you use a lot of compassion, you use mindfulness, you connect to the body, and then if an emotion, any emotion, it could be fear, guilt, shame, is stuck somewhere, you use kindness and compassion, you release it by asking powerful questions, which is so powerful.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And there's no negative emotions. There's nothing
Yeah.
bad. Everything that anger, fear, resentment, shame, guilt, they're there to teach us something. We have this stigma in society that shame should be shamed and anger should be ridiculed. Anybody that's acting from those places is basically saying, I've been hurt and I'm afraid.
And don't you think it's actually good to have that? It's good to express the emotions rather than suppressing it. Isn't it better? What do you think? Because I personally kind of feel that if I suppress anger and sadness, it's just going to come out and project in so many other ways. But what if I'm open about, I am angry about the situation, or I feel sad about this?
Beautiful, beautiful. Nima, I think yes, I agree with you. But if I had to just go half a layer down, I would say it's becoming aware of it, of what's causing it. Because it's okay, beautiful to express. Don't ever suppress. Suppression is way worse, but then also expression can be bad. If you're just angry and you just want to punch, it's good to express, but it's not good to express it that way.
Excellent. I'm hearing you. What you're saying is be mindful of the emotion.
Why am I angry? What is it in Nima's body, voice, questions that is really aggravating me, that's making me angry? You know what? This is how my father used to talk to me. So there's some work to be done there, because I'm feeling like Nima's actions are a reflection of my father's ways of being, and all I had to do then was fight back because I was afraid to get hurt. So I need to express this anger in a healthy way. How can I? Let me go to the gym and punch a boxing bag. Or let me do some meditative healing, some breathing. Let me breathe in this moment, as opposed to, oh, it's your fault, you shouldn't talk to me. It's coming out, but it's not coming out in a healthy way, because all you're doing now is creating havoc around you. And then after that, you feel guilty because now you've hurt people.
Exactly.
So it becomes an unhealthy way to express it.
Oh, that's beautiful. But I think this is where the coaching aspect becomes brilliant. Because when I'm trying to deal with this by myself, there are many ways in which I can go, because one could be actually just reacting to this, or one at some point being mindful and responding. But when you come to a coach, the coach is so non-judgmental, knows what questions to ask. I feel this is such a safe space.
That is so beautiful, because in my journey, my healing journey, I would not see, and sometimes I'd ignore the blind spots, the things we don't want to deal with, because those are the uncomfortable places. So we turn a blind eye, either consciously or subconsciously, because we don't want to deal with the fact that, yes, I'm still reacting in an unhealthy way, but I need to deal with it. So we tell ourselves, I'm doing 10% of the work, and that's fine. But then when you have a coach or someone to call you out, you're like, yeah, okay, Nima, I hear you, but what about that?
Yeah.
And the resistance is so powerful, and that's where the awareness and growth come in, right?
I can't agree more, because that's amazing. Because going to a coach who can hold the space for you, who can challenge you in the right amount, who can see your blind spots, who can make you grow, I don't think there's anything better.
No.
Because and trying to do all the self-help on myself is also another level of, I don't know how much.
And at some point, Nima, for people watching this, at some point you have to stop with all the theory.
Yes.
And you have to start actually doing the work, because nothing shifts more than doing the actual work. So absolutely. It's great it's more powerful than anything to have someone on that journey with you. I'm not just promoting coaches or us, but someone to hold you caringly and compassionately and lovingly accountable for the things you don't want to look at. It's the only way to heal.
It's the only way. And doing it with someone you trust, and it could be a coach, it could be a counselor, it could be a trusted friend.
Mm-hmm.
But having somebody with you on that journey, I think is amazing.
And the thing I said to myself, and I like I said, I still Nick Martin coaches me, and sometimes I even avoid. I see it in myself. When you do the work, and now the work's been done on you, you can see how it comes up. And I think, well, So many of us do that. We just slide through life avoiding the things that are uncomfortable, but the uncomfortableness is the place to grow and heal. And for you, you know, for no one else. I don't believe this work benefits anyone else more than it does you. We can say it's for our relationship, for our kids, for our work, but this benefits you so much more. And something happens in your world. Those things that you thought were the focal points, the way they wish to see them, it changes completely. It's such a beautiful process. I feel emotional because of my journey. You know, I used to fixate on doing things for other people. And when you start doing it for yourself, because you feel you're worth it, it's something else, you know?
Absolutely. You are like now, giving me the candy, because it's like you're now coming into the space that I love. Because when people realize and come out of that, and they're like, look, I'm not pleasing anybody else, I'm just going to start living finally for myself, that's growth. And that's kind of what we will do in the next session is post-traumatic growth. And that wonderful, thing out there. So I am with you. I don't know if we have too much time left. So maybe you can wrap it up, say a few things, a little bit more. And yeah, this has been absolutely fantastic.
And it's gone so fast. It's been already 40 minutes, which is great. Nima, I think just to sum it up, practice for people watching, practice. Just practice changing your body. Do a mindfulness meditation. See where there's tension in your body, what you're holding in. If you relax your shoulders, how much effort does it take? And an analogy we use in somatics is if you had to clench your fist ever so tightly, clench it tight, hold it really tight. And now, when I ask you to release, just focus on how much energy it takes to actually release it. You have to actually, because it's held in place, right?
Yes.
Can you feel you have to make an effort to release it?
Absolutely, yeah.
That's what the body's doing in years of suppression and fear and anxiety and anger and stress. So we're like this for so long, it takes some time for you to just actually let it go. And it's so unhealthy to have this like this for so long. So just practice a mindfulness meditation. Relax. I love this one because it helped me so much. And I realized just how much I was afraid to be seen. And I started knowing that being seen was me seeing myself. Putting my chest out, for me, it was like, oh my God, the world can see me now. No, let's go back. I'm the same person occupying the same space. All I literally did was this.
Open up, yeah.
And just practice and start seeing where you find resistance. Your jaw. The back molars shouldn't be touching. If they're touching, we're holding intention. So just practice releasing that and seeing what's there. And just do some stuff to get in touch with your body. You know, now that we're on the somatic topic, get in touch with your body, see how it feels to have compassion, to let go, and see what's there. And just awareness.
And what I'm hearing is it's good to do this multiple times in the day, no?
Absolutely.
So you don't have to be like, oh, it's my meditation space, let me go do. I can be sitting here in a meeting and be just like, okay,
absolutely.
Roll this.
Absolutely.
Check am I in the meeting and am I holding, clenching my fist, or is it just let everything go?
Yes.
Just check on my jaws. So it's something we can do periodically in the day.
As often as possible. Like that was powerful what you said, that if we just leave it for that 10, 15, 20 minutes of meditation at night, it's not enough.
No.
It's like wanting to learn how to swim, but all you do is you jump in the pool and you use one hand.
Yes.
You're never going to get full mobility and shifting in your body if you don't do it as often as possible.
And if you do it as often as possible, then it just kind of becomes part of who you are, no? Then
then you disengage your body from being in survival mode and read up on survival mode and how unhealthy it is to be in that state constantly. It's so unhealthy for your physiology, for your emotions, and it has a big price to pay. Not to create fear in anybody, but this is the awareness. It is what it is, right?
It is, and I know we have very little time, but Lindsay, I think what you're saying is so important, especially in today's times that we are living in.
Absolutely.
With the virus still out there, with kids going back to school, with us, some of us getting back to work and doing all these, like, traveling on the tube, the train, people losing jobs. The stress is so much, right?
And it stays in you.
Yes. All the trauma stored in the body, isn't it?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm going to try it. So I'm going to definitely not just do my body scan meditation in the morning, but what I'm taking away so beautifully from this is I'm going to learn to check in with myself and my body as frequently as possible in the day.
Nima, the most powerful thing we can leave people with is, what have you got to lose?
Yeah.
If you try something new, you have a new experience. If you don't try anything new, things stay the same. You've got nothing to lose to try a meditative process, to call a coach or anybody just to say, hey, I'm struggling.
Oh, absolutely.
Got nothing to lose. Nothing to lose. And everything to gain. Just even, oh, that's not for me. You've learned something, right?
Absolutely.
But you've got nothing to lose when you go and you try and look at yourself in a different way through a healing lens, right?
Totally. Rather than just suppressing it all over and creating disease and all of that within yourself. This has been so amazing. I'm walking away with so much from this. So thank you so much.
You're so great.
Thank you so much.
And just all that. I mean, I love it, because even with my new embodiment, sometimes I forget and I see myself closing, and I start becoming aware that, oh, I'm closing when I go into a certain meeting or when I'm going to be approaching a situation where I'm going to have conflict. I notice my defense mechanism. Oh, wow, Lindsay, you know what? Let's change that. You don't have to be afraid. No one's going to hurt you. No one's going to attack you. And you start learning how to shift your body somatically into a new awareness.
Oh, wow. I can feel that. Amazing. Thank you.
Well, Nima, you're so great. I love your presence and your energy. I said that already, but it's so beautiful. And I thank you for always showing up so authentically. I don't think you have a choice anymore. Now, knowing that you've done your inner child, it's never an end process. It's continuous. But I believe that
it's very difficult to go back to.
I feel it's impossible to go back. You can't go back, right? It's a misconception. You cannot. It's a denial. It's a form of denial if you think you're going back, because so your authenticity. I don't even know if I should say thank you anymore, because it's not a choice. I think it's just who you are. So thank you for being who you are.
We will catch up again.
Yeah, we'll do another one. We'll be back next week for you to explain a little bit about post-traumatic growth and how powerful and influential it can be. Thank you everybody for watching. We hope you enjoy this as much as we enjoy making it. You got any questions, you need any support, just reach out, please, to us, to anyone. Whatever you do, don't keep it in. Just ask a question. Why am I feeling this? Why am I this way? What do you need? And we wish you all the best with love and compassion, and we'll see you soon. Thanks, Nima.
Thanks. Bye.